All right, Kristina, you just passed the PMP. I am super happy for you. How do you feel right now?
I feel a mix of emotions, honestly. I feel extremely excited, tired, um, but I can't describe it. I'm just so incredibly proud of myself and so thankful to have found you and just elated.
No, I can deal with all those emotions. I think it's a good place to be. So we're proud of you as well. So we haven't known each other for that long. Approximately how long have we known each other?
About 3 weeks, I think, is when I.
That's not bad. I'm glad it's a short, productive engagement the amount of time we've known each other. So, all right. So remind me a little bit. Talk to me a little bit about kind of your overall PMP journey. What was it like? And then what was it like when you got involved with the accelerator to get to this point? Kind of talk me through it if you would, please.
Sure. So I was actually told by my business that I needed to get my PMP certification. So it was one of those, I had this panicked look on my face when my boss told me, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And the way I studied the best is I wanted to have someone teach it to me first. And I thought that the best way to do that was through a boot camp because that's how I'd heard everyone else doing it. And that's okay. So I followed their guidance. So I signed up for a boot camp, but COVID happened. And so it got postponed for about a month. And then we did it online, which was fine, but it was very fast and it was a lot. And by the end of the week, I was okay. I'll try to figure out my way of studying. I have all these books. I've got my whole packet from the boot camp. I've got Rita's book. I've got who's the guy?
Doesn't matter. They're not good at their job.
I know.
Keep going.
I have a whole slew of books. Anyway, I read through all of them, or not all of them, but I started all of them, and I couldn't find the right way to practice studying for me. I couldn't find a way that made sense. I kept reading the same chapters over and over again in all the different books, all the different material, and it just wasn't coming together. And I really needed a structured way to study. And I just figured there had to be a better way to do it. And I was searching online, and before I found you, I found other stuff that I wasted my money on, but I found you, and I sent you one of those comments, like, I need a way to study, help me out. And you had called me and we talked it over, and you said, you know what, I have the 7-day accelerator. Let's give it a shot. I think you'd be good for it. And it was a phenomenal conversation. I got to say, you were probably the easiest person to talk to. But from there, it was wonderful. It was exactly what I needed. I needed the structure. You had day 1 through day 7. You had the materials. I will say I didn't keep up with day 1 through 7 just with work and family, but I got there. And by the time I was done, I think it was this last weekend, I had finished up, it was 4th of July weekend. I had finished up the 7 days, and I told my husband, I'm like, I think I'm ready. Like, I think after a week of really hardcore studying to really go over everything, I think I'm ready. So I scheduled my exam Tuesday night for Friday, and here I am.
That's awesome. That is awesome. It makes me so excited to hear that. And I do remember our conversation, and about 3 weeks or less ago, and you were ready before that and all those things. So would you have passed if you had just stuck with the original boot camp and struggled and stuff?
There's no way. Absolutely no way. I wasn't making the same connections that I made when I took your course.
All right, that's cool. Well, I'm glad we were able to help you out and get you through, because months ahead of struggle probably would have gone. So if there's someone out there that's like you, like, what was it a little bit more like? There's no magic in like the 7-day thing. It's not like, any magic. It's like, what about the way in which the material is presented, or the support you get, or the perspective? What about it helped light bulbs come on for you?
I'd say, well, a couple of things is I tend to get really anxious when I'm reading something that I don't understand, and then I know that there's an exam out there waiting for me. I get panicked, and so then I stop paying attention to what I'm reading. And so your motivational minutes were very helpful.
Okay.
I mean, I enjoyed them. They kind of like really emphasized that for me. But then all of your videos where you just broke everything down, especially since you went from process group instead of knowledge area, that made a heck of a lot more sense. I mean, I don't know why everyone does knowledge area, but I realize that's the way the PMBOK guide's written, but the process group makes a lot more sense. And especially all of your short videos. I realize some of them are longer, but they were bite size or easy to do videos while, managing a family. I get up early, before work, watch some videos. After work, watch some videos. And so they were easy to do, and they were structured. And your 7 flows was extremely helpful too.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to move that up as well. Cause everyone says 7 flows, 7 flows, 7 flows. And I'm like, damn, like, okay, cool. Like, so, we're going to put it up earlier so people get organized with it, and then we'll show it again later so they can really dominate it. Now you're Rob was your coach, right?
Yes. Unfortunately, I felt bad. I couldn't ever make it to yours. They were too early in my time zone, but I could make it.
Yeah.
So I did his on Tuesdays.
Okay, that's not a problem. So how did that go? What was the experience like with Rob's calls?
It was good. The first call, so the first week I did Rob's on Tuesday and then yours on Wednesday. And I don't know if you remember, but I was completely flustered on your call, and just like I was panicked. I was rushing through the questions, and I just wanted to hurry up and produce an answer because I was afraid I was going to get it wrong. And the more I did it, the more I understood, and especially working with Rob and having the other people there was very helpful, because we do get them wrong from time to time, but why are you getting them wrong? Right. How are you answering the questions? And you know what? Watching Rachel's video, so by the time I went on to my first call, I was still, I think on day 1 or day 2, I hadn't watched Rachel's video of her going through the questions, and that actually gave me a lot more confidence going into Rob's calls. So I wish I would have watched that before my first call.
Okay. Yeah, it does. Now, what about like seeing, because if anybody's, this will be put out in podcasts and stuff, they might not know who Rachel is. Everybody's going to know who Rachel is eventually. Well, but Rachel was a student, one of the first 7-day accelerator students. She and I did it live. And what we did was, or just tell them like, what's the Rachel videos in the front? Like, what is it all about? Like, what happens?
It's about basically reading through the questions, breaking down the question, and not rushing through the answers. Reading answer A through D, methodically answering, do you like it or do you hate it? But you don't love anything right off the bat. You just,
right.
I loved your podcast on The Bachelor. That was pretty hilarious. But any case, you just cross off which ones definitely don't make sense, and then narrow it down at least 50-50, and then methodically talk out why that is the best answer.
Right. And a lot of people right off the bat think like, oh, I don't have the time to do that, or I don't have whatever. But if you go through it, what would you say to the people that say like, I don't have enough time, or it's not worth my time to go and talk through like the logic of why it's right and wrong? What would you say to that?
Well, that's how I passed the exam. So you do, you do have time. I mean, so I will say the first 90 questions, I didn't do the way that you and Rob had suggested doing. I feel like, okay, I'm gonna tattle on myself here. I answered each one. I spent the time really looking at each question, and then I started to feel the pressure of time on my shoulders. And I had to speed it up. So the last half, I still had 2 hours left to answer the last 110 questions. But I did it the way that you and Rob had suggested, is get the momentum, right? Read them. If you know it, great. If you don't know it, if you can answer best, great, flag it, do it later, or don't answer it and move on. And you can actually go back and check all your unanswered questions. I mean, I don't know if you would recommend that, but I did that for some of the more detailed ones. But you go through, read the question, break it down, look at each answer. Don't be stingy and go for the immediate one that you want. Look at all the answers just to make sure. But cool. You have time.
Yeah, you have time. Yeah. And so when you were talking about like the Rachel thing, the videos made you feel comfortable? Was it that, so what happens is that like Rachel's in there, she's working one-on-one with me. We're going through questions. She's not getting them all right? She's learning just like you. So did something about seeing her do that and kind of like, did it help you? Like, how did it help you seeing that?
I think just knowing that I know she passed, and and just to see that she was struggling through them too. And some of the questions that she had gone through, I didn't struggle the same way she did. But vice versa, there were some that, she got really easily, but I was struggling with, or we both got stuck on a similar question because I, pause and think through it too. But it was like having a buddy there with you, and know that you're not alone.
That is really cool. And that's one of the things that like, as I built the course, I tried to do things that were like different, like what would connect with people. And as I started talking, like having calls like with you guys and coach, you know, when I was coaching the different people to build like the program, I was like, well, shoot, they're expressing things well. Why don't we just put their words in? So, you know, we had those like things with Maya and Rachel and Melissa and, you know, all the different guys and Martian and all these other people. Yeah, I think it's really, what did you think about like I think that like the community aspect of it kind of simulates, I don't know if I'm putting words in your mouth, but it kind of simulates that it feels like you're there with people who are going through with you, not just like me
Right.
teaching you. Yeah.
Right. And especially, you know, for again, the Tuesday calls, mine were the Tuesday calls. They were the same people. And so
Yeah.
the first call is a little nerve wracking because you're all new. You don't really know each other. Some people are on video, some aren't.
Yeah.
And because you're not in person, you don't really get to know them that super well. But after call, I don't know, you just develop that team feeling, even though all you're doing is reading the question and explaining why. It's not like you're talking to each other about your lives.
No, you're just talking about project management and stuff, but somehow you kind of connect and you're like, that's what I like. I'm keeping like the 4 or 5 people in the call max with the coach so that you get that little connection and you start to like talk through it. So it's a fun little environment. Yeah.
Yeah. The amount of people you have per call is perfect. I think it's great.
I think it's great too. All right. That's cool. So like, how did you, like you said, a couple of days in, you knew you were done. Were there certain things like the ways in which you were solving questions, or maybe when you were, you know, coaching or going back and forth, was there a point when you knew that people always ask me, how do I know when I'm ready? And so like, how did you know when you were ready?
You know, it just, I don't know how maybe it was taking the simulated exam and you know, I got what, an 84, 83. I mean, it wasn't spectacular, but it was
Pretty good.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And just everything was starting to make more sense, you know, and I wasn't reading something that I'd read before, and it was no longer like I was reading it for the first time again. I was like, oh, I'm recalling things, and I'm able to read a question and identify, okay, I'm here now. What should I have done? What should I be doing? The fact that I was able to start doing that and really see it, it's like, I feel like I'm not going to be perfect, but I feel like I'm as close as I'm going to be, unless I wanted to spend a lot more time studying. So, and well, from our conversation, I had a very quick deadline I wanted to meet. So like this, I'm going for it.
I love it. I love it. And you went for it and you were confident in there. Now, tech issues or anything? Did you have any tech issues or anything on the?
No, I went to launch it. I went through everything, the photos, I did everything. It was fine. I went to launch it, but it closed because it said I had a program open. And I have no idea, but anyway, it resolved itself, luckily. But no, everything was very smooth and it was great.
That's really cool. Now, in like your normal jobs and stuff, like you're working, you're doing these things, like going through the course and reflecting on the materials and learning even in this quick 3-week kind of exercise, do you think you're going to take certain things back to the way in which you do work and things to help out? What would those be if you are?
Oh my goodness. There's a lot that I want to take from what I learned here and apply it to work. I know I'm not the only one. There's been a few people who have studied and they're like, why don't we do this at work?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't disclosed where I work, but I mean,
yeah, you don't have to. Yeah. Don't do that.
There's a few other people going through your course that work with me, and I'm sure that they would also agree that it would be nice, for example, if we had a PMO, that would be nice, you know, and if we had more mentors and such. But I mean, just to be able to, even taking this has provided me a lot more structure of how to do things, because I have a larger project, larger than I'm used to, on my plate coming up, and this has given me the confidence to manage it, that I have a lot more tools at my arsenal than what I'm used to using.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
That's really cool. Now, the most important question is, what are you going to do to celebrate your PMP now?
I know a lot of people have asked that. I don't want to do anything.
Well, the good thing is it's over, and like, you know, you got through it, you accomplished it. And it's kind of like, I mean, I know you're tired and you're up and you're down and you're like excited. Who knows? You might cry in the call. Who knows? But like, now you know that like you did it. You don't have to worry about it anymore, and you're actually better for it. And you can kind of take those things back and work with your teams to build it up. And then, Yeah, so we're really proud and impressed by how well you did so quickly, and so we just think we just wanted to share how, you know, for me, how appreciative we are for you taking a gamble and going with us. So it was good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you being available, and the fact that you are so hands-on. I think that's awesome.
That's
I
cool.
appreciate
Well,
it.
that's awesome. Well, okay, there's probably people like you out there. Before we end this thing out there, they probably seeing, like, they're listening to you, they're like, she sounds like me, she's got a job like me, she's, you know, has the perspective that I had where we went through the thing and it just didn't make sense. For those people out there and they want to share the same kind of feeling that you have, what would you say to those people?
I would say definitely it is totally worth their money, time, and effort to go through you and your course, all of your materials. Like I started with all of the 7-day accelerated, and then I actually went through and read the ebook version,
Right.
and the PM1 view. I mean, once I found you, I didn't open any of my other books again. I mean, I wish I should send you a picture actually. I mean, it is a very tall amount of books I didn't open again. And I mean, there's just, I guess anybody else that I find that has, that wants to take their PMP certification, I would say don't even waste their time or money on anything else and just start with you.
That's awesome. Well, I'm glad everything worked out so well. You did it so quickly. You took to it so much, and then you just dove in and got involved. And you, like, the thing that I really love is, like, the only people that get into the accelerator are the people that talk to me. And so, like, we're kind of like letting them in, and it's kind of like, it's a fun group because I can control that everybody who's in there has the same kind of, like, humbleness, and they're kind of like a little bit nervous and excited and willing to give everything to do it. And it's like a very positive environment. So you were perfect for it. You did amazingly. So we got as much out of it as you did, which we're pumped about. And, you know, you still got access to the site forever. And we're going to continue to add PDUs and classes and all that stuff. And so I almost dropped it in there. Sorry. Got a little excited myself. So, we'll continue to support you as we go through, but at the end of the day, we're just so happy that you got through and you did well. So congratulations again.
Awesome. Thank you, Scott.
All right. I will talk to you later. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.